coming to our today's class. In the last class, we started with Unit 2. One second. So last class lo mana Unit 2 తో స్టార్ట్ చేసాము. Unit 2 లో ఫస్ట్ హాఫ్ వచ్చేసేసి అజైల్ డెవలప్మెంట్ ఉంటుంది, సెకండ్ హాఫ్ రిక్వైర్మెంట్స్ ఉంటుంది. సో వీఆర్ సీయింగ్ ఇన్ ఫస్ట్ హాఫ్ ఆఫ్ Unit 2, that is agile development. We saw different process models in Unit 1. సో ఆ ప్రాసెస్ మోడల్స్ లో ఉన్న అన్ని బెనిఫిట్స్ ని ఇంకా ఎన్హాన్స్ చేస్తూ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ ఫర్ అజైల్ డెవలప్మెంట్. సో అజైల్ డెవలప్మెంట్ అంటే హియర్ విల్ బి గివెన్ సమ్ వాల్యూస్ అండ్ గైడ్ లైన్స్, some principles, some 4 values and 12 principles will be given by the agile development team. So if you follow these principles and guidelines or values whenever you are developing a software, then that comes under agile. So agile lo main intention or main concept is agile is adapting to new changes at any phase. So as we saw in previous models, you are having different drawbacks. One of the main drawback is if the changes are asked, if the changes are given to you in the later stages of the development, then it is difficult for us to involve all those changes in the developing product, right? So in order to overcome that, we came with the agile development. Why? Because this is the general thing what happens in day-to-day life. Why? Because we expect to do changes. The client expects us to do changes at any part of the development phase, not only the beginning. He expects us to do the changes whenever required, right? So then it generally happens in real life. So the main concept or the main manifesto of this agile development is to include all the changes at any part of the phase, any part of development phase. So these are the 4 values which we already saw in the last class. So in the 4 values, what we saw is the previous models always gave importance to process and tools, whereas our agile process or agile development always asked us that individuals and interactions are more important than process and tools. And in previous process models, we saw that documentation is more important, whereas in agile development, we are saying that working software is more important. The code that is executed is more important than the documentation work. And in previous models, we saw that contract negotiation with the client, whatever contract you are signing with the client is in the initial stage is more important. But whereas the agile development tells us that don't go for any contract negotiation with the client, but the customer should always be involved in the project development. So it is saying that customer collaboration is more important when compared with the contract with the customer, right? And the last value, it is saying that initially we always followed the plan we had developed in the traditional models, but whereas this agile is telling us that don't always go for a fixed plan which is developed in the beginning. Always try to include changes at any part of the phases. So these are the 4 values which agile development includes. So we saw the definition for agility. So the main intention of agility is always response to change. It is a rapid and adaptive way to respond to change. So these are the things which you already saw in the last class. So we compared the agility with the traditional models and try to analyze the cost of change. So this is the graph we saw previously. So in this graph, we came to know that as the development schedule progresses, as the schedule goes on, and the development cost on the y-axis and the schedule on x-axis. So we saw this dark black color curve, which is indicating the cost of change of normal process models. So when you are developing a software by using our traditional process models, what generally happens is if any changes are required, ask us to do in the development phase, then if the changes need to be included in the later stages of the schedule, that means we are nearly at the end of the software development. If the changes are asked to be done by us at the later stages of the schedule, then generally the cost of the development increases rapidly. So that is why initially the cost is low, but if the changes are asked to do here, then the cost will increase rapidly. Whereas this light gray color curve, this represents the cost of change when you use agile development. So when you follow agile development principles and develop your software, then generally what we told is the changes, if you are asked to do the changes at the later stages also, then the cost will be less when compared to the traditional models. So this is what we saw in the previous class. And the next important concept we started with is agile process. So this agile process gives us 12 principles. So the topics that are included in this agile process are principles of agility, the politics of agile development, and the human factors that involve in agile development. So in these three concepts, we started with the principles. We are having 12 principles in agile process which should be followed when you are developing any software. So the first principle which we saw is always the priority should be given to the customer. Always give the customer the highest priority when compared to rest of the things in your project development. The rest of the things can be designing, all these things, testing. No, it doesn't mean that you should not give, but when compared to all the things, you should give main importance to the customer. Why? Because he is the person who gave us the project to do, right? And he is the person who should be satisfied by the end of the day, right? And the next principle, what Agile tells us is always welcome change in requirements. So this is the reason we came for Agile development. So always at any part of this development phase, you should be ready to include any changes that is given by the client. So always welcome changing requirements, even late in the development. This is the main thing. And the third principle we are asked to do is always deliver the working product within short amount of time, within less amount of time. So don't keep your project schedule for years. Don't say that I'll complete this project for years after 1 year or 2 years. Don't give that much long schedule time for developing your project. Because you are using incremental model in agile development, you can release the product in different increments, right? In different versions. Not that the complete product should be released at a single time. You are having the flexibility to release the product in different increments. Then use that facility and always plan to release the product within weeks. Within 1 week, release this part of work. Within 2 weeks, release some other part of work, or within months, if not within months. So always go for short-term plans. Don't go for long-term plans. And the fourth principle, what Agility tells is business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. Here, business peoples are the stakeholders. It can be the primary client or any other person who is involved in your project. It can be some external person, some person who is giving you the data externally, who is not a part of a developer team, who is not a programmer, but he is helping you in some way or the other. He is giving you some data, or he is bringing you some documents. So all these kinds of things. So any people who is involved in that particular project development must work together daily. In the sense, you should always keep on interacting with all the people who are all present in that project. And the fifth principle, what it told us is always have motivated individuals in your team. See, if you are having a group of team members, all these team members should always be motivated, and they should be given some rights to plan, to take or to include some part of risks by them, right? So don't always go for spoon feeding type of things. These individuals who are all included in your team, all the programmers who are present in your team will be a skilled persons, right? In agility, what we are saying is include all the skilled person, all the talented people in your team. When you are having that much of talented people, experts in your team, they should be given some rights, so that they can take some decisions by their own. Not always the main person should guide all the persons. And the sixth principle, what it tells us is, when you are communicating in fourth principle, we told that you should always have communication with all the people, right? And the sixth principle, what it tells us is, when you are establishing communication, please always go for face-to-face conversation. Don't use some intermediate parties in between, right, for conveying your information. Why? Because if you use some intermediate people in between, the thing which you delivered in the beginning, by the end of the day, it will be conveyed in some other way, right? So your own intention might not be transferred to the end person, right? So you need to directly interact with the end person, so that you should have a face-to-face conversation so that the data will be transferred without any changes, right? And the seventh principle what this agile tells us is always promote sustainable development. See, always give some incremental development, always give the always release your product with some increment, which includes some ethics, right? So always follow that one in agile process. And eighth one what it tells us is always continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. Always give attention to technical excellence. If new courses or new programming languages or new things comes into picture, always try to educate your team members, always try to give training to all your team members regarding all the technical excellence or new technologies or new designs, whatever are there. So continuous attention should be done on these things. And ninth principle what it tells us is simplicity. Always try to plan or prepare designs in a simple way. So the art of maximizing the amount of work not done. See, whatever, so in agility, what we told is the client will always ask us to do some sort of change at any part of time, and we should be ready to welcome all those changes, right? This is what we told in agility. When the client is always giving you some sort of changes to do repeatedly, you should have the minimum capability to analyze that which part of work is important, which part of work is not important. So do all the important works first. Don't go for all the unwanted things which just the client told you. Why? Because you're expert, you will be able to analyze which will be important for this project, right? So you should be able to maximize the amount of work not done. Not done is don't go for unwanted work. Always do the wanted work first, right? And the 11th one is the best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self-organizing teams. So self-organizing teams are the team which is able to share their works. So if one person is doing one sort of work, he completed his work. It's not that he just go away because he completed his work. He should be in a state to share some other work. So the team should be self-organizing. It should have the motivation to share. They should have the motivation to share all those work, right, within the team. And last principle is at regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective that then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. So if the team comes to know that we are lagging in some way at this point of time, we are lagging in some way, we are lagging in cost, or we are doing something wrong, so it should have it should be more effective such that it tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. So they should try to identify their laggingness and try to rectify those things where they are going back, right? So these are the 12 important principles which all the agile process follows. So if you are developing any software by using any process models, and if you are asked to include the agility in that process model, then these 12 principles should be followed by all the team members. If you're following this all these principles, then we say that agility is included in our project, right? So this is the first part of agile process. And in second part, the politics of agile development. So there is a slight argument between the agile team and the previous process models. So in previous process models, which has been used from decades ago, all those waterfall, spiral models, all these things, some people argue that all those traditional models are important, whereas some other people argue that the agile development is more important. So right, that is what we are having this politics of agile development. So finally they came up with a statement saying that yes, previous traditional models are all are important, but when compared to all those things, in some cases agile development is given more preference when compared to previous things. Why? Because we already saw all the differences between traditional and the agile process, right? One of the main differences, see, agility always includes, always say that documentation is not that important when compared to working product. Whereas in previous process models, what we told that If you are giving, if you are asked to do some code, if you are doing 5 rupees of code, we'll show 10 rupees of documentation in our previous models, right? So whatever work, executable code you are doing, you are developing, when compared to that executable code, your documentation work will be very much. Why? Because we told that when new persons come into the project, they should know all the things what has happened until then. So all the work should be documented repeatedly. So in that documentation work, what we are doing is, finally I should give the working software to the client, but I'm more concentrating on the documentation work, documentation maintenance. So it is taking more time for documentation only. But whereas agile development, what it told us is, don't go for too much of documentation. That is not important, but the working software, the code that you're running is more important. That meets the business needs. So they came up with an argument saying that agile development is a little is having much preferences, is more important when compared to previous development models. And the last one in this agile process is, the agile process always runs around people. What we are saying from the beginning of the agile is, always finally the customer is more important. All the people that are involved in the agile are more important. Preference should always be given to the customer. Preference should always be given to the team. You should always motivate them. So we are always running around the team, around the people, right? The process molds to keeps the molds to the needs of the people and team, not the way others. So we are always running around people and team in agile, right? So if you are, that is, you are always including the human in our agile development. So all the humans that are included in our agile development should possess the following things. The first one is competence. See, all the humans that are included in your team, all the developers who are included in your team should be technically expertise people. They should have the knowledge of all the technologies. They should have the knowledge of all the process which you are following in the development of the software. So there should be some sort of competence, what to say, some competition between those people in exhibiting their excellence, right? In showing that excellence behavior, they should have some sort of competition so that the best will come out of them, right? And the second human factor is common focus. So all the team members that are included in the project should have one goal, one final focus. That final common focus is satisfying the customer. All the members who are included in that team should always keep one thing in mind. They should focus on finally satisfying the customer. That is the main thing for agile development. And the third one is collaboration. All the developers who are included in the team should have a common collaboration between themselves. That is, they should have proper communication. They should have friendly environment, information sharing environment. So they should all belong to one group, one set of people, right? So they should have a common collaboration between themselves. And the fourth one is the decision making ability. So what this decision making ability tells us is, as I already told you, you should not always give them a spoon feeding types of thing, right? You should not always ask them for question and answer types of things, right? You should give them some flexibilities, right? So that they can make the decisions by themselves. Decisions are here, all these decisions are correct decisions. They are having enough knowledge, so they should be given some authority so that they can make the do the decisions by themselves. And the last one is fuzzy problem solving ability. In problem solving ability, not that if you get the answer as 0 it is false, not that if you get the answer as 1 it is true, not always running between false and true, but you should be able to show all the intermediate values also, right? That is what we call as fuzzy problem solving. Not the exact thing. If something differs from the exact thing, what will we get? So you should be able to show all these kinds of things. And the next one is mutual trust and respect. So always the best comes out of us if we have trust on one another, right? So mutual trust among the developers is more important, and respect towards all the clients, all the customers who are involved in the project is also more important. So there should be a mutual trust among the developers and respect towards all the clients who are involved in the project. And the last one is self-organization team. So which we already told it in values. So self-organization team is more important. So these are all the factors, human factors that involve while developing any process models, while developing agile process. So first one is competence, some competition type of environment, common focus. Finally, the common focus should be on client, satisfying the client, collaboration, sharing the information among themselves, decision-making ability, having the ability to take decisions, to take good decisions by themselves, fuzzy problem solving, not only true and false kinds of thing, able to solve the problem in different aspects, mutual trust among the developers and respect towards the client, and finally the self-organization team. So these are all the things that comes under process. If you are asked the question as agile process, then you should write the 12 principles of agile first, then the politics. This is not that important. Just give the subheading as politics of agile development and try to differentiate between traditional and compare both these two and try to show that agile development is more important when compared to traditional development. And the last one is human factors. So I already told you from the beginning, while learning this subject, always write the subtopics in one page. Now you are learning this agile process. First write the 3 subtopics in the index page, and in these principles you are having 12 principles, right? So just write one key point from each principle. If you write highest priority as principle 1, then you will be able to elaborate that statement, right? Highest priority should be given for the customer, so you will be able to elaborate. And next one is change in requirements. So just try to identify one main keyword from the entire statement and write that keyword in these principles. 12 keywords, 12 principles, right? And human factors. You are having different topics in human factors. Competence. If you are able to learn these headings, then you will be able to elaborate that one in detail. Why? Because these are all general things. So, right? So this is all about agile process. And next, coming to our next topic, XP. XP stands for Extreme Programming. This is the main and important process model which includes agile principles. So that is called as extreme programming. We are giving this name as extreme. Why? Because it includes all the main advantages that are present in the previous models. It includes all those main things and gives them to the extreme level. Shows the behavior to the extreme levels, gives the best to the extreme level. So that is the reason we call this as extreme programming. You can also call it as XP. It's not our Windows XP operating system, but here the XP stands for, in the extreme we have taken X, and in programming we have taken P, and finally call it as XP. We also call it as XP model, right? See, this extreme programming is most widely used agile process. It is proposed by Kent Beck. So this is the most important and the first developed agile process model. So this is developed by Kent Beck. So this XP programming is extreme programming. XP is a lightweight. It is an efficient, low risk, flexible way of developing the software. Lightweight because it is having a less number of activities. It is efficient, as we told in the previous classes. Low risk. Why? Because we are having very short plans. We are releasing that plan, taking the feedback from the customer and planning for the next. In the sense, our risk will be very less. Why? Because the customer is always involved in our development. So we'll be always trying to satisfy that customer. So we'll be having low risk. Flexibility, adapting to changes, right? That is what we are saying from the beginning. It is always flexible to include new changes. So it is a lightweight, efficient, low risk, flexible way of developing your software. So this XP is generally used for small and medium sized teams within the industries for, where the work under rapid changing requirements. So if you are having a project which is having small or medium size, which is of short, not a large project, a small or medium size project, and mainly the drawback in that one is that requirements will keep on changing in that in the project. Then you'll go for XP, right? Where the requirements are keeping on changing, then we'll go for XP. Okay. And if the project is of large project, then you are having an extended version of XP. So most recently, a variant of XP called Industrial XP has been proposed. For a small size project, we'll be using XP. But if you are having a large project, then you can go for XP with an extended version. You call it as Industrial XP. Industrial XP. So this is the introduction for extreme programming. So in extreme programming, we are having 4 concepts. XP, as Agile gives us 4 values, XP also gives us some values which should be followed. And next one is process. And next one is industrial XP extension. This is about XP values and process model, how it looks like. We'll be seeing here. And next we'll go for extended version, industrial XP. And next finally we'll be seeing XP debate, nothing but disadvantages of XP. These are the 4 concepts we'll be seeing in extreme programming. Now coming to this extreme programming, what are the 5 values? We told that the first one is XP values. What are the values we'll be seeing in extreme programming is, what are the ethics that the people who are included in that team should follow? That is the value, right? While you are developing any project, what are all the ethics you should follow? So similarly, while any persons, you call them as agile teams. Why? Because this is all agile process, right? Where if the agile team that is developing the product by using extreme programming, what that agile team should have, what values that agile team should follow is, the first one is communication. As I already told you previously, you should have a friendly communication between your team members and the client and the stakeholders, right? Not that stakeholder is non-technical person, will keep them aside. We are all technical persons, we are all programmers, software programmers, we are all of one category, and the client is of some other category. No, you should always have a communication, friendly communication between yourself and the client, right? And you should always include the client in your development. Whereas in previous model, we always included client only in the beginning stage. In the later on stages, we did not include client anywhere. But whereas in this agile, you should always include client in all the phases of your development. Whenever you are having any drawback, what to say, when you are any doubt, you should be able to communicate with the client and try to rectify them, so that what the client wants, he will say you, and you can do them accordingly. And next one is simplicity. The second value you should follow is simplicity. Keep it simple. That is what we always told. So the plan should be simple. The design should be simple. Don't go for too complicated kind of things. Always try to solve the problem using simple methods. Simplicity is main thing. Feedback. So why? Because you're releasing the product in increments. After releasing one increment, try to take the feedback from the customer. If you are having any defects in that, try to rectify them in the next releases, so that continuous feedback should be taken from the client. And you should be in a stage to accept that feedback also. If you are having some negative feedback, you should be, it should be okay for you to accept the negative feedback, try to rectify them and go for a better thing in the later increments. And the next value is courage. See, you should be courage enough to accept anything. See, here courage means, for suppose you started coding, you developed coding continuously, sitting day and night for 2 to 3 days. You coded all the things, and the 4th day, the client comes and tell you that, no, this is not the requirement I want some other requirement. So you should be courage enough to throw away all those previous things and start again the new thing. Not you don't sit there and say that, no, I worked very hard and developed all these things, how can I throw away all these things? No, you should always be courage enough to accept whatever is coming to you, right? And finally, the respect towards your fellow programmers, respect towards your clients, respect towards your stakeholders, whatever it may. respect. So these are the 5 values. So all the team members that are included in XP should follow. Communication among themselves and client, simplicity, developing the product simply and easy way, feedback, always taking the feedback from the customer, courage, dare enough to accept anything. Next, finally, the respect towards all the people in the team and the business and people, right? So these are the 5 values. And the next one is after values, we are coming for XP process. So as we saw previous process models, where we are always seeing 5 framework activities. That 5 framework activities are, what are those? Communication, planning, modeling, coding and testing, and finally deployment. So we always saw these 5 framework activities in all the process models. Now coming to this XP process model, we are having 4 framework activities here. 4 framework activities here: planning, design, coding, and testing. See, the model looks like this. XP programming, extreme programming model looks like this. You are having 4 framework activities. This is same as the previous prototype model, which I saw, incremental model, which I saw. So see, this follows incremental model. See, this first increment, the product is released here. Again, taking the feedback and releasing the second increment, third increment, so on. It continues until the client is satisfied, right? Now coming to our phases individually, you can see here in the planning, generally what we do in our normal framework activities, in traditional framework activities, is first one is communication. What we told them, you'll communicate with the client, you'll take all the requirements from the client, and you'll prepare one document. You'll have a contract signed with the client, right? Whatever the client wants, you're having a contract signed with the client, and after that contract is over, you'll keep client aside. Why? Because his work is done. We gathered all the requirements from him. He told us to do some sort of things. We gathered all those. We had a contract signed with the client, and we keep the client aside, and we follow all these phases in the later stages. That is what we saw in the previous traditional models. But what we told in this agile process is always the client is involved. So we are not having any contract or any communication, all those things separately in a different phase here. So all those comes in this planning phase itself. See, in this planning, what we do is, first one you see here we are saying user stories. User stories are not the stories you people tell us. All the students tell us when staff ask you to do something, you will be keeping on saying one story other. If I ask one of your students, why are you not switching on your mic? He says that I went to hospital. On my hospital, on the way of traveling, I switched off the mic. So he is very conscious that even though he is going to hospital, he want to listen to the class. So he's owning the class without switching on the mic. So these are all different stories, right? So here, the user story is not the stories which we say for others, but user story is whatever the client wants us to do. He's giving us a supermarket application. In giving that supermarket application, he wants us to do all these modules. He wants us to develop a module where he can give different offers, different discounts. He wants us to develop a module where the bill should be generated. He wants us to develop a module where the user should give feedback. The customers who are coming to the supermarket should be able to give feedback. So these are all different stories of client. The client is expecting us to do some sort of things in our project. So all those comes under different user stories. So all those user stories are taken from the client. The values which we saw previously, the 5 values which we need to follow, all the values should be undertaken by the team members, and the acceptance test criteria. See here, the test cases are written initially before doing the code. The coding is done somewhere here, but the test cases here, acceptance testing is, for suppose if the client comes and asks you to develop a ballpoint pen, you'll develop a ballpoint pen by using different ways. You'll develop a pen by using different ways. Finally, what that pen should do is, when you're writing with that pen, it should be able to write either blue ink or black ink or anything. We should be able to write. by using that pen is, so acceptance test case will be, question will be framed here. We'll be seeing how to write test cases in the later chapters. So here how you'll write the question is, the client asked us to develop a ballpoint pen. When I'm writing with this ballpoint pen, this action should be performed. So what is that action? That action should be, we should be able to write on the paper. It should be visible. So that will be the output you are expecting. So you'll frame the question here. So you'll frame the question in such a way that finally when you run that question, if you get the answer, finally your work is done. That is acceptance testing here. What the client wants. We'll see it in detail how to write the test cases, right? And next one is iteration plan. So as we told that agile process is developed in iterative fashion. So in first increment, what should I develop? In second increment, what should I develop? In third increment, what? So in different iterations, what is my plan? A short-term plan. So everything is framed in this planning phase. So in this planning phase, what we are doing is, we are taking the user stories, what the user wants us to do. We'll maintain different index cards for all these stories. One story is maintained on one index card. We'll be prioritizing all those index cards. Which story should be developed first? Which index card should be developed first? We'll be prioritizing all those index cards. We'll follow all those values. We'll write the test cases for final acceptance testing to be taken by the client. And we'll plan iteration plan, how to perform, how to plan, what to plan in each iteration, what to develop in each iteration. So all this planning will be done here in the first phase. In the second phase, coming to the design, as we told that in this design, we'll be preparing the models. So simple design is prepared here. So keep this, as I told in values, simplicity is one of our value, right? Developing the product using simple way. So that is the reason we told that here is simple design here. Don't go for complicated designs, complicated models, use simple designs. And next CRC cards are prepared here. Here CRC cards are class responsibility collaborator cards. I'll be showing you next. In detail we'll go in next, but I'll be showing you in this next slide. CRC cards are prepared here. And next is Spike solutions and prototypes are developed here in the design phase. Right? After designing, we'll go for coding. In coding, we'll perform refactoring. We'll support pair programming. We'll support continuous integration in coding. After coding, you'll go for testing. Unit testing is done here. Finally, acceptance testing is done here. And next, the product is released. And next, by taking the feedback, project velocity, by taking the feedback from the client, again, you'll go for next increment. This is what the process model goes on. So we'll be seeing each phase in detail now. Now, first one coming to planning, we already saw in planning. So what you are doing in planning is, it begins with creation of user stories. As I already told you, we'll take the requirements from the user, right? Next, what you do is agile team assesses each story and assigns a cost. The user asks us to develop different kinds of stories, different kinds of modules. Now what this agile team will do is, it will assess each story. It will read each story and try to identify how much cost it will take, how much schedule it will take to develop. So all this will be assessed by the agile team. Next, stories are grouped to form a deliverable increments. So different stories can be grouped together and released in the form of one increment, right? So different stories are grouped here. Next, a commitment is made on delivery rate. So now in planning phase, what we do is, so these stories are grouped and in one increment, we are planning to release it in one increment. Within how much time will we deliver that increment? Within 1 week, we'll deliver this increment. Within 2 weeks, we'll deliver this increment. So a commitment is made on the delivery date, right? And after the first increment, after releasing the first increment, project velocity is used to help define subsequent delivery dates for other increments. After releasing the first increment, you will get the feedback, right? Feedback from the client. You developed one increment, so you'll be knowing all the flaws or all the things we'll be facing in that while developing that increment, right? So by considering all this into your mind, now you'll try to plan for subsequent deliveries. See, after giving first increment, you will be calculating the project velocity is computed here. the feedback from the client, or the experience which you gained by developing this increment. All this will be considered here, will be taken here, and according to this velocity, the next plan will be scheduled. So right, if any defects you face here, you'll try to rectify them in the next increment. So all according to the previous experience, you'll try to go on for the next things, right? That is what is done here in the planning phase. And next, coming to the design phase. So design, as I already told you, always follow KIS principle. This we saw in first unit. We are having general principles followed by, we saw some principles followed by David Hooker and George Pole. In that we told that one principle is keep it simple, stupid. That is what we saw there. So always try to develop your design in a simple way. So that is the principle we are saying here. So always the design should be simple. Encourage the use of CRC cards. CRC stands for Class Responsibility Collaborator. What is this Class Responsibility Collaborator? See this example. So I gave you a class here. For example, this is one example. You are preparing a project for some library automation or some kind of thing regarding library project. So one of the class here is librarian. Librarian is one class. You'll be writing the methods and what are the methods that should be done by the librarian. All those you'll be writing in one class, right? So in this class responsibility collaboration, you'll be involving the class. What are the responsibilities of that class and with whom they should collaborate to perform that task. So that is what CRC stands for. What is the class name? What are the responsibilities or methods you should write in that class, and with whom they should collaborate to perform the task. See, for example, the class name is librarian. What are all his responsibilities? His responsibility is to check in book, right? Check out book, search for a book, knows all books, search for borrowers, knows all borrowers. So these are all the responsibilities the librarian should take. So while taking these responsibilities, for suppose the first responsibility is check in book, right? While checking book, with whom he should collaborate, what should he see, with whom he should tie up is, he should collaborate with book itself. He should open the book and see the check-in date or all over. So he should have a tie-up with the book only. Similarly, check out book. When someone is taking out the book from the library, when some student is coming and taking out the book from library, while checking out with whom he should collaborate is he should see the book, writing some due date, or he should tie up with the borrower, with the student. He should communicate with both these things. So these are the collaborations. Similarly, while searching for a book, he'll go for a rack and search for a book, right? Then with whom he should collaborate is with the book itself. He should open each book and see whether that book is present or not. So these are all the things. See, for searching for a borrower, he should he should collaborate with the borrower. So these are the responsibilities and these are the collaboration. See some other example. You are writing the project for a card reader, ATM application. You are developing a project for ATM application. Here the class name is card reader. What are the responsibilities, methods that should be followed in this card reader is, responsibilities are tell ATM when card is inserted. You are having ATM card, right? Card reader. So responsibilities are, you should tell the machine, ATM machine, when the card is inserted. Read information from the card, eject card or retain card. So these are all the responsibilities. So while doing first responsibility, with whom it should collaborate is with the ATM machine itself. So tell ATM when card is inserted. Then you are going to insert one card, with whom you should tie up with the ATM machine itself, right? The ATM should able to identify that the card is inserted. So you should collaborate with the ATM machine. Now if you are checking for some balance, if you are trying to withdraw some balance or all kinds of things, read some information from the card or reject the card or retain the card, with whom it should collaborate is with the card itself. You're trying to debit some amount from the card, you should collaborate with the card. So all these things. So this is a small example of CRC. We'll be seeing it in detail. Maybe you at least got a brief idea of what is CRC. So what is the class? What is the responsibilities of that class? With whom they should collaborate. So all this will be done in the design phase. In the design phase, We use simple principles, and next we encourage the use of CRC cards. So we'll prepare different classes, what are all the responsibilities with whom they should collaborate. All this will be written in the design phase. Next, for difficult design problems, suggest the creation of spike solutions, a design prototype. So there, what is the spike solution is? See, I gave you the definition here. Spike solution is a very simple program to explore potential solution. For suppose you are having one problem which is difficult to solve, which is little bit tricky, which is difficult for you people to solve all this thing. So you'll try to solve it in simple way, in a simple thing. All right. So all those kinds of simple solutions, you call them as spike solution. If you're solving a problem is one way, in one way is difficult, you'll try to solve it in some other way by using some other means or something. So all those comes under spike solutions. So difficult solution should be modeled using a prototype. So that is called a spike solution. So for any difficult design problems, if anything is difficult to solve, then you will suggest the creation of spike solution, some of the means of creating the solution for that problem, right? Next, encourages refactoring, an iterative refinement of the internal program design. Now, what is this refactoring is? I told you again. Improves the internal structure of the code, but external behavior not affected. So, for example, I gave you to write a program to calculate the square root of a given number. Initially, you develop the square root function. You are having some 10 or 20 lines of code to perform that square root function. So you develop that module, square root module you develop, you are having 10 or 20 lines of code within that module. In refactoring, what I'll do is I'll try to refine them in a better way. So in the later stages, you came to know that for finding the square root function, we are already having a predefined function in our library. If I use that function, I can develop the code within 2 lines. So 10 lines of code is refactored and it is refined into 2 lines of code. But the functionality is same. In both the cases, you are calculating the square root only. In both the cases, I'll get the square root output. But the first program you took 20 lines to develop, whereas in second program, you just took 2 lines to develop the same functionality. That is called as refactoring. So in design, what we'll do here is, in design, what we are doing is, you're developing simple designs. You're using CRC cards. You're developing spike solution. Different solutions, difficult solutions are developed in some other way, and using prototypes to solve those difficult solutions. So all these and all this is done in design phase. So right, we are running out of time. Maybe I'm not able to complete this concept in this class. We'll see it next class. So in today's class, we started it extreme programming, one of the model of agile process developed by Ken Burke. We saw the 5 values of extreme programming, and next we started with process models of extreme programming. In this process models, we are having 5 framework activities. In that, we saw the first and second framework activity. Planning and design we saw in detail. So I'll continue the concept in the next class. Why? Because we are running out of time. So students, are you having any doubt? So you are taking 2 to 3 minutes extra to join. And if I want to take some extra time, I'm coming, the next class should be started, so I can't extend my class. So please join the class in time, all of you. So are you having any doubts? Any of you, are you having any doubts? Number 89, Nobita, having any doubts? Shall we leave the class?